1970s R&B was overflowing with platinum records, radio hits, and cultural moments that still echo today. But for every Marvin Gaye or Aretha Franklin classic, there were albums just as soulful, just as groundbreaking, that never got their time in the spotlight. Take a smooth listen to a slept-on Bill Withers gem from 19 and it'll stop you in your tracks. Or feel the dance floor energy packed into that Syreeta record you might not even know existed. These aren't just hidden treasures. They're time capsules, emotional journeys, records that still deserve to be heard decades later. Let's count down 10 underrated 70s R&B albums that deserved way more attention and still sound incredible today. Number 10, Come and Get It by Rick James. The funk blueprint that came before the fame. Long before Super Freak made Rick James a household name in the 1980s, he dropped a debut album in 1978 that barely made a dent commercially, but laid the foundation for everything that followed. Released on Gordy Records, Come and Get It is packed with grooves that blend Motown soul roots with heavy funk and rock influences.
Don't stop now. Showtime, y'all.
The title track brings a smoky, almost psychedelic edge. Stone City Band sounds like a party ready to burst, but here's the kicker. This album introduced the Stone City Band and James' signature mix of swagger and sincerity years before the world was ready for it. It barely cracked the charts, but play it now, and it sounds like the birth of a movement. If Prince was watching, he was taking notes. If that was a funk ignition, wait until you hear what came out of Muscle Shoals next. Number 9, This Is Niecy by Deniece Williams.
Oh, and how that man pleases me, but
A quiet storm masterpiece wrapped in sunshine. Released in 1996, This Is Niecy was Deniece Williams' debut solo album after her stint with Stevie Wonder's backing group Wonder Love. Produced by Maurice White and Charles Stepney, the same geniuses behind Earth, Wind and Fire's celestial sound. This album was pure melodic magic, but somehow it stayed under the radar for years. It's got that floating through the clouds kind of beauty. Free is the standout single, a tender, featherlight ballad that floated into the UK charts but never took off in the US like it should have. Williams' soprano is otherworldly.
I just wanna.
The arrangements are lush, layered with strings and jazz funk touches. This was the sound of a new voice emerging, one that could have soared even higher if the spotlight had stayed on her just a little longer. Up next, a Motown alumna who found her groove far from the big city. Number 8, Syreeta by Syreeta Wright.
It seems, dear love, has
A Motown muse steps out with cosmic soul. In 1972, Syreeta Wright released her self-titled debut, and it's still one of the most enchanting, overlooked albums in the Motown universe. Co-produced by her former husband, Stevie Wonder, Syreeta is a kaleidoscope of sound. Funk, psychedelia, soft soul, and early synth textures swirl together like a dream you don't want to end. Tracks like Black Maybe and How Many Days echo the era's social tension and personal searching, while Keep Him Like He Is delivers airy devotional soul that feels both intimate and spiritual. Wright's voice is delicate but powerful, more feather than flame, yet it cuts through. Despite Wonder's golden touch and an ambitious sonic palette, the album struggled to find commercial traction. Maybe it was too ethereal, maybe it didn't fit the mold. But decades later, Syreeta feels like a blueprint for the neo-soul movement to come. Next up is a powerhouse vocalist who never quite got her mainstream due, but gave us a record full of pure fire. Number 7, Candy by Candy Staton.
You count up the years and they will be filled with
Southern grit meets velvet soul. Released in 1974 on Warner Brothers, Candy marked Staton's second studio album, and it should have been her breakout. After years of gospel and soul grinding in the Deep South, Candy poured every ounce of life and heartbreak into these tracks, and you can hear it. Every single word.
Don't be no fool when love really don't love you.
Sweet feeling swings between desperation and ecstasy. As long as he takes care of home is a feminist slow burn wrapped in a satin groove. There's no filler here, just raw, lived-in stories backed by warm Muscle Shoals production. But in an era crowded with giants, this gem got lost in the noise. It wasn't until the disco era that Staton's name started rising.
Ooh, your heart, to yourself be true.
But Candy is the one that showed the true depth of her artistry. It's Southern soul with scars and elegance, all in one breath. If that one moved you, wait until we uncover a spiritual soul masterpiece that flew way under the radar. Number 6, Gonna Take a Miracle by Laura Nyro and LaBelle.
Loving you so.
A sacred meeting of voices that slipped through the cracks. This 1971 collaboration might seem unlikely on paper. Laura Nyro, the Bronx-born singer-songwriter known for her poetic pop, teaming up with LaBelle, the powerhouse R&B trio led by Patti LaBelle. But what they created together was pure vocal alchemy. Recorded at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia and backed by the legendary Gamble and Huff production team, Gonna Take a Miracle is a glowing tribute to classic doo-wop and R&B. Covers like I Met Him on a Sunday and The Bells become deeply personal confessions in Nyro's hands, while LaBelle's harmonies wrap around her like gospel fire. It didn't sell huge, it wasn't promoted like it should have been.
It's gonna take a miracle. Yes, it's gonna.
But those who found it were changed. The chemistry is palpable, a blend of reverence, memory, and freedom that still gives you chills today. And now we reach a record that could have redefined the quiet storm if only more folks had been listening. Number 5, All Things in Time by Lou Rawls.
He said her name was Susie Wong, but baby, let me.
Velvet vocals, Eternal Groove. By 1976, Lou Rawls was a veteran, a deep-voiced crooner whose jazz roots and Philly soul leanings made him a genre unto himself. All Things in Time, released on Philadelphia International Records, was a critical moment. It gave us You'll Never Find Another Love Like Mine, a huge hit. But somehow, the album itself didn't get the long-term respect it deserved.
You are the one, baby, you're the one.
Beyond that single, the album is drenched in rich orchestration and smooth rhythm. Groovy People is a slice of upbeat optimism. Let's Fall in Love All Over Again is pure slow dance bliss. It's the sound of an artist fully in command, warm, romantic, and timeless. While it did well commercially, it's rarely included in best-of lists. And that's a shame, because All Things in Time is a front-to-back masterclass in grown folk soul. If these underrated albums are bringing back some sweet, soulful memories, give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people rediscover the magic of 1970s R&B. And stay tuned. We've still got 4 more hidden gems to uncover, including one that inspired a whole new wave of slow jams. Number 4, Nightbirds by LaBelle. Futuristic funk that flew under the mainstream radar. Yes, it had the hit Lady Marmalade, But LaBelle's Nightbirds was so much more than its chart-topping single. Released in 1974, it was a bold reinvention. Patti LaBelle, Nona Hendrix, and Sarah Dash transformed from soul trio to space-age rock-funk pioneers, wrapped in silver bodysuits and unapologetic power. Produced by Alan Toussaint in New Orleans, the album blends searing funk guitars with gospel roots and progressive rock energy. Are You Lonely? And It Took a Long Time show emotional depth far beyond the dance floor, while You Turn Me On feels like a spaceship lifting off inside a soul cathedral. Despite the explosive success of Lady Marmalade, the full album was often misunderstood. It was too experimental for some, too bold for others. But today, Nightbird stands as a fearless, genre-bending masterpiece that paved the way for artists like Janelle Monáe and Beyoncé. And if that was futuristic soul, our next pick is quiet, smoky, and intimate. A perfect late-night reflection. Number 3, Pieces of a Man by Gil Scott-Heron.
Tossed about the room.
Poetry, politics, and pure heart. Before there was neo-soul or conscious rap, there was Pieces of a Man. Released in 1971, this was Gil Scott-Heron's first full-length studio album, backed by jazz-funk keyboardist Brian Jackson and a team of top New York session players. It's most famous for The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, but the deeper cuts are where the soul truly lives.
But he didn't know what he was saying.
Home is where the hatred is haunting. Lady Day and John Coltrane swings with effortless cool. And I Think I'll Call It Morning offers a sunrise of hope in the middle of struggle. This was not easy listening. It was raw, unfiltered truth about addiction, oppression, and survival. But it never lost its groove. It never lost its warmth.
Come laughing through the gloom.
And while it went largely unnoticed by the mainstream in its time, it later became a cornerstone for generations of artists who wanted to speak and sing with purpose. And now, we arrive at number 2, a debut album so understated, you almost miss how powerful it really is. Number 2, Just As I Am by Bill Withers.
How do you do, Lucy?
A whisper-quiet debut that echoed through generations. Released in 1971, Just As I'm introduced the world to Bill Withers, a former Navy man who recorded this album while still working at a factory. Produced by Booker T. Jones and backed by members of the MGs, the record features Ain't No Sunshine, but it's the lesser-known tracks that hold the deepest emotion. Grandma's Hands is a warm ache of memory and gospel legacy.
Does she know?
Hope She'll Be Happier strips heartbreak down to its bare bones, Better Off Dead. It might be one of the most brutally honest songs ever recorded, about a man alone with a piano in his pain. Withers didn't sing to perform, he sang to speak truth. And while the album was modestly received at the time, its influence only grew.
Does she show it?
You can hear echoes of it in D'Angelo, in Leon Bridges, in the countless artists who followed that path of quiet, emotional resonance. Now for number 1, a record that very few people know by name, but one that holds enough power to stop time for anyone who listens. Number 1, Magic Man by Zulema.
They found me in a room.
A lost jewel of raw emotion and cosmic soul, Zulema Kuso, once part of the group Faith, Hope, and Charity, released her solo album Magic Man in 1975 on RCA. It blended disco energy, soul sincerity, gospel depth, and jazz touches in ways that few albums dared to do back then.
lucky fella.
The title track is a seductive, spiritual groove full of mystique and rhythm. You Had to Know reveals heartbreaking honesty, and It Will Never Be the Same Again carries the kind of emotional weight that stays with you for days. Zulema wrote most of the songs herself. She carried the whole album with vocal command and emotional clarity, but without major label support or commercial push.
This man was suffering from an overdose of joy.
The album barely made a dent on the charts. Still, its beauty never faded. For those lucky enough to stumble on it, Magic Man is a revelation. It's proof that some of the most important voices of the 70s never got the stage they deserved. From Muscle Shoals to Philadelphia, from gospel grit to cosmic synths, these albums were quiet thunder in a loud era. They may not have topped the charts, but they shaped the soul of a generation and laid the groundwork for artists we cherish today. Thanks for taking this journey with us. If this trip through overlooked soul classics hit home, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep the groove alive. And don't stop here. Up next is our countdown of 10 highest-selling R&B albums of the 70s. Click the end screen and let the smooth roll on. Until next time, keep spinning the vinyl and keep the soul alive.